Hi, teammates. My name is Sean J. McCall, and I am your host for this installment of the Eurostep. As usual, where we like to look behind the scenes of basketball related themes, basketball related guests, but not just basketball, European basketball, basketball all over the world, but not just basketball. I like to get a varied selection of guests going on, and it just so happens that today we're going back to the roots of a player. Um, yeah, and before we begin, let me make sure to tell you guys that at the bottom of the store, the game phrase is too friendly. Thank you. You just threw me off right there. um, at the bottom of your screen, you can throw in the comment if you'd like to ask a question that you would like me to ask during the live session. Just throw it in there, or if you just want me to see it, just hit the question mark at the bottom of your screen as well, and then I will try to infuse those questions in the live set. So let's get started. Um, Tyrone Nash is my guest for tonight. He's a vet. I think this is what his 11th, 12th year. He's playing this year in Germany's Pro A for the Kirchheim Knights, but he's played professional since 2011 in countries such as France, Israel, of course, Germany, and Turkey, to name a few. Also played a little bit in South America as well. So he's really been around the block. He played college ball at Notre Dame University, and we'll talk about that. And I look forward to getting his views on his career as he kind of looks back on it and sees how it was looking back. So let's get him in. Accept. He should be in here in a second. So there we go. Yo,
Hey, thanks for having me.
how you doing, man?
Doing well.
How
Doing
was practice today?
it wasn't too bad. Just covered some defensive concepts and some offensive concepts so we can incorporate into the next game this weekend.
How many games have you guys played till now?
We played three, so
What's your record now?
we are winless at the moment.
Ouch.
We are winless.
Who you,
We
who you
struggle
got on the weekend?
on this weekend. We have Bochum at home, so it's our first
Okay.
kind of like real home game. So I think this will be the start of our week.
Okay. Okay. So we're just going to jump right into it, man. This should be a chill kind of conversational thing. It shouldn't be like a normal interview. I really want it to be like comfortable for the guest and say your piece, whatever you feel like sharing, whatever you don't feel like sharing, don't share. That's
Cool.
simple. All
Yep.
right. But I'm not out for sound bites or controversial stuff, so I'm not going to ask you nothing too crazy. All right.
Cool.
Uh, but anyway, so thanks again for coming out. I appreciate it. So let's jump right into it. You went to the University of Notre Dame, which is, I would say, a football school. I mean, it's a school that's powerhouse in football for all these years, but it also has a pretty deep basketball tradition. How was it for you going to such a big school that was known for football, but you're going there for basketball, of course? How was it for you going there?
It was a cool experience. Notre Dame at the time was in the Big East, and I'm from New York City, so going to Notre Dame allowed me to go back home and play close to home when we played certain schools in the area closer to. And Notre Dame gave me the opportunity to play basketball and also the academics. The Notre Dame alumni stretches a long way. And once I'm able to tap into that network, hopefully the amount of help and aid I will be able to get would be endless. So
Mhm.
it was. I mean, I think during my 4 years, actually, Notre Dame football actually struggled during that time.
Uh-huh.
It was kind of a basketball school when I was there, but ultimately it is ultimately a football school. Great football tradition, but like you said, like the basketball tradition, goes a long way, stemming from Coach Bray to Digger Phelps to
Yeah.
countless other names that you know.
Oh, what happened? I lost them. Oh,
Oh,
there we go. Okay.
oh, yeah. Um, did you, what's the
I
last one?
got you. I got you.
Yeah, so just the
Uh,
long way, basketball and football. So it was a great opportunity, for the academics and the athletics, and I was able to, kill two birds with one stone.
What was your most memorable college moment, basketball wise?
I would say the tournament, going to the NCAA tournament, the NCAA selection thing. I think my senior year, I remember we all gathered around the TV because we were supposed to get like we were up for like the number one ranking, number one seed that year. So we were up to see if we were going to get it or not, and just it's crazy to see yourself on TV while I remember the year selection show, and now I'm looking at myself on TV, and it was just crazy experience. Some things like that you'll never forget,
Mhm.
and it was an awesome experience. That's one thing that definitely it definitely stands out.
What I mean, when I was checking your background stuff, I saw that like each year you got statistically better each
Yeah,
year that you were at Notre Dame. Was How was it for you to evolve there? How was your development there? Because it's a pretty big school, and big schools are not for everybody, but you seem to have done pretty well for yourself. So how was it going to school and experiencing that and developing there?
yeah. So my senior year in high school, I remember I went to a Notre Dame, played Georgetown in the Big East tournament at the Garden in New York City, and I went to the game. And I watched that year because there were two freshmen on the court at the time. It was a point guard, forward. Point guard was Torrey Jackson. Forward was Luke Herringody. And so me viewing that, I'm like, oh wow, this is amazing. Like Coach Bray plays freshmen, young guys, chance to grow and develop. So I'm like, man, this could be a great opportunity. So I'm like, all right, let me commit to Notre Dame. Getting the best of both worlds academically, athletically. He plays freshman, so. And then, I walk on campus, and then I realized that Luke Herringody, the forward who I saw the previous year in the Big East tournament, the freshman, he was he came back for a sophomore year, and he went on to get Big East Player of the Year as a
Biggest
sophomore
player here, yeah.
year, and he was kind of in my position, and he's from Indiana, and so it was like it was tough. It was tough in a way because, of course, I wanted to play, but that was a great person to learn behind, like. Big East Player of the Year. He averaged 20 and 10. I think he's only one of maybe two players ever to average 20 and 10 in consecutive years. He's had a knack for scoring. So, I'm guarding him in practice every day.
Every day. Mhm.
So I'm learning, and I'm doing well too, but it's just he's averaging 20 and 10 in the Big East. So that was tough, and a little bit of the development was just because I wanted to show what I was capable of doing also. But again, you have to learn. In my experience, I had to learn. I could have left. Like I wanted to leave my sophomore year just so I can go play.
Right.
But I was like, I never really quit anything ever in my life. So I was like, I'm gonna stay here and make this work out, make this work. And so just putting the work, and finally got my opportunity, my like the middle of my sophomore year, and then Coach Bray started me, and then I think I started for like the rest of my career. It was,
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
mean,
yeah, it was tough.
kudos to you for sticking through that, man, because I mean if you look at the transfer portal now, how that is,
Yeah.
people are moving around like crazy. It's not just the fifth year seniors or something like that. It's like sophomores, it's freshmen. They don't play that first year and they're like, yo, I'm out.
Right, right. It's more. I feel like more of a business decision now. Like
Right.
everything.
Especially with NILs and everything, their branding and they got companies looking at them. So if they're not on the court, then they're
Everything.
brand stuffers.
Yeah,
That
crazy.
that shit wasn't none, that shit wasn't existent some years ago, and nobody cared about that. It was
Yeah,
just about winning.
yeah,
Now it's crazy to be a student athlete these days.
yeah. Like your Instagram is important now.
Hmm.
We
Yeah.
I'm just getting popping like my senior year, and like I'm thinking about now. Like if I had all what they have now, if I had that when I was playing, it was like, man, who knows what could happen.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Um, Everybody has that NBA dream.
Yeah.
When did you think, okay, maybe that dream is not going to be a reality? When did you think, okay, maybe I need to have another option and think about starting to go overseas?
Well, I would say in my senior year because I didn't get invited to the Portsmouth
Mhm.
Invitational. Like the
Right,
invitational for the seniors to showcase
right.
skills. I didn't get invited to that. I felt like I should have, but stuff happens. And that year I came out was also the NBA lockout. I don't know if you remember 11. So
I,
there was a
I
bunch
know I have experience with that. I'll tell you in a second. Go ahead.
there's a bunch of stuff up in the air with the draft workouts and stuff. So I didn't even get any workouts that year or anything. So I was
Mhm.
like, well, what's the next best option? And it was like this. Then an agent hit me in my Facebook Messenger and was saying, "Hey, we have teams. You have two teams asking about you in Europe." And I'm like, "All right, I want to play. I love basketball. I want to play." And they say, "Yeah, a team in Spain and we have a team in Germany who are asking for your services." And I'm like, "Well, the NBA is not really an option right now, so I guess to continue my dream and pursue my dreams of playing basketball professionally and doing something I love to do, I'm like, all right, I'll go overseas to play. If you play basketball, I feel like you can play basketball anywhere. You're a hooper,
Yeah.
you hoop anywhere." And then, and then I made my way over to Germany and with my coach Igor Perovic, which I think was probably the best thing for me.
For you. Hmm.
Yeah, that opportunity just allowed me to flourish and he really allowed me to. He gave me the freedom that I really feel like I didn't get in college,
Hmm.
showcase my skills in my game, and I think it was probably the best decision I made.
Let's go back about the agents. So your first agent you got through Facebook Messenger,
He hit me up. He hit me through Facebook. Like it wasn't my actual agent. Another
right?
because agents work with agents in other countries.
Right.
Bypassed my agent, just went straight to me.
Okay.
That's really kind of honestly, that's how I got a lot of my deals. Is the agents just contact me.
Wow.
It's
Wow.
the agents like, what do they really do? They just negotiate your contract. But I mean, if you're smart enough, you technically can do it yourself. And they're just
Yeah.
taking that.
Yeah. Except for the fact that um, I would say like vets definitely can do it by themselves.
Right.
But when you're first coming over, you don't. What did you seriously? What did you know about European basketball before you came over?
Exactly. Not much at all. I didn't
Did
know
you
if
know
you.
how much salaries are or relegation or what did you know?
I didn't know about the relegation. I didn't know about the exact, the rules. Obviously, you come over as American, the travel, the whole putting the ball down first, and
The American travel.
the rim, you can knock it off. Uh, what else? All the little things. It was just the physicality. Like I didn't really understand that, and
Four
uh,
quarters,
the whole timeout. You can't call a timeout.
timeouts, shot clock.
I remember I dove on the ball my first year, and I'm like, timeout, timeout, and everybody's laughing at me because I'm like,
Okay, Chris Webber.
right. It's just it's just instinct. But I knew we had timeouts available. It wasn't
Right,
Chris. Yes.
right, right.
But it was just, the instinct of, coming from college in America where you think call timeout. And just little stuff like that. You just had to really learn on the fly. And
Yeah, but thinking about your agents, like you you wouldn't have known how to negotiate your contract or something like you don't learn that stuff until you've played overseas a couple of years. Then yeah, then you can probably get away with it. But like when I do my consultations with people, always my thing is I think everybody should have an agent because not because of not so much of negotiating contracts because of course these days everybody can reach out to you. You can reach out to teams. That's not so much the issue. But I think when you really understand um, one of two things happening, well, there's three reasons why I think you need an agent. One, to negotiate contracts to get you a job, possibly, but that's the most normal thing for every agent to do. But then I think you really realize how good of an agent you have if you get fired or if you get injured.
yeah, that's
And those are two situations. If you don't have an agent, you're going to get screwed.
right, right,
The teams have no obligation to do the right thing if
right.
you don't have an agent. And yeah, you might be on the with a band-aid on your broken leg and on the first thing smoking back home if you don't have an agent because you don't have somebody that has your back,
That's a
you
fact.
know.
That's a fact.
But of course, when you get older and you have a reputation and you know how things work, I mean, when I got older, I also didn't have an agent towards the last couple of years because teams contacted me and it was easier.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, but when you coming out of school, did you have more than one agent come talk to you before you signed a deal in Germany, or how was it like the recruiting part of agents?
Yeah, so I was getting recruited by agents towards like I guess like I'll say my whole senior year. Like guys were starting to talk to me like, hey, like, there is some NBA interest, it's just not strong, and then you have also European interests.
Mm.
But then the lockout happened with the NBA, and then I told you the teams in Europe contacted me, and so I signed with an agent in America towards the end of my senior year. Sam Porter was my first agent.
Mm.
Um, and I told him that the guy hit me up in my Facebook Messenger. He said, I'll take you from there, basically. And that's how my whole deal got set up. I told him that the guy contacted me, and then Sam
You did
Porter.
the rest. Mm.
Yeah.
Were you satisfied with the knowledge you had gotten, or any kind of education you got before coming over to Europe, or did your agent kind of hip you to anything, or was it strictly, okay, I'm going to negotiate this contract, you're going to fly over July 25th and have at it?
Exactly, basically what it was. Wasn't really like he didn't really get me hip to like European lifestyle, culture, basketball. Like, I really learned that all my first year. Like I had a great vet my first year, Lou Campbell, and he's from Jersey, and he was a great person. I feel like if you're a first year rookie, like he was a great person to learn under. And he told us so much about basketball and all that European culture, adjusting and all that. And and the biggest thing they told me was like right around 2011, the world was coming off or still feeling the effects of the recession in '09. And a lot of guys we played with my first year, it was like, yeah, you guys just miss, the contracts where they're giving out like 100,000, six
Yeah,
figures
yeah,
per, like your first year out.
yeah.
And my first year, I only made what 50,000 my
Mm.
first year out. I was like, well, to me, it was a lot of money because I didn't make anything. We didn't have NIL deals then, so like that was
You're
a
a
lot of
struggle. You're a struggling athlete.
right. You know, 50,000 a lot of, but he was like, yeah, man, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, you would have got six figures off, and that was I was like, wow, like you don't really understand how stuff that's happening in America, recessions and economic struggles that we're having in America really affects the whole world, and that was interesting to see and learn, on the fly too, because
What was? I'm sorry. Keep going. Keep going.
and then because we were always watching the interest rate because like if you get paid in euros, you convert you whatever you get in euros, you times it by the interest rate at that time, and I remember it was like 1.41, right around that, and now you're looking at that, you weren't told before I entered Europe, my agent didn't tell me about, oh, the interest rate is important because it, how much you really bring home and all that, and
Right.
you learn all this, on
On
the
the
fly.
fly.
So it's
What
interesting.
what was the thing that you had to adjust most to your first year, your rookie season out?
I think just culture,
Mm.
just being in South Bend was different too. I'm coming from New York City, but, it's
Right.
different. Still, you're in America. People speak your language. You go to the
Mhm.
store, you see stuff in your language that you understand. So you have to really be out of your comfort zone and adjust and be comfortable being uncomfortable. And I think a lot of players, what I would tell a lot of players, rookies, young guys, is to like really assimilate yourself into the culture, immerse yourself in the culture as much as
Yeah.
you can.
Yeah.
I know it's hard because you're coming from America, wherever you come from, and trying to adjust and learn different cultures is difficult at times. You can't speak the language, you can't really express yourself, and
Mm.
I know that's difficult because it was tough for me my first year. But I was lucky. The town I lived in to begin was like a lot of people spoke English. It was a
Mhm.
university. That's a lot of young kids,
University City.
and so a lot of people spoke English. And in Germany as a whole, a lot of people speak English. So,
Right. Right.
but sometimes you're not afforded that. If you go to Asia or somewhere or France, like where they really don't speak English or
Mhm.
don't like it could be difficult.
Yeah.
But the more you immerse yourself, the more you try to like assimilate to the culture, you'll get better and better.
It's hard though, especially for basketball players, because we're not on multi-year deals. We're coming on one, maybe a 1+1, unless you're a vet or unless you're a EuroLeague player or something like that. So you're going year to year. So you never know where you're going to be, so it's hard to totally fully immerse yourself when you don't know if you're going to be there the next year, you
I
know?
agree. I agree. And that's one thing I don't understand because it's like if I'm a GM, I would think I want to keep a core group of guys together so we can win because you want chemistry. You
Mhm.
know, I never I mean I know the NBA and Europe are different, but it's just what are your thoughts? Why don't you think teams keep core guys together?
Supply and demand. There's just such a large amount of players. And I remember when I was coaching when I was coaching in the Bundesliga,
Mm,
I went to one of the league meetings, and it was a kind of an unkept secret or something like that that BBL clubs wanted to keep salaries down, and by doing that, they kind of made a gentleman's agreement that they would not sign players from another German team. That was
mm,
kind of this is back in what 2006, 2007. Um, it was a unkept secret. Let's put it like that.
mm,
Because of course, if you're bidding against another German team, the prices are going to rise. So it's easier for a team to take a player from outside Germany or from directly from college because I can pay you your first year out. It doesn't work out. You go somewhere else. I find a player exactly like you and pay exactly the same contract
mm,
or even less,
mm,
depending on how good I scout.
mm,
But if I try to get you from Alba Berlin, the price is going to go up for you.
mm.
So I don't think it's still like that. The salaries have increased, except for after COVID, but they increased pretty well. I don't think it's and you have a lot of movement inside the BBL right now, so I don't think that's still the kind of the norm. But I remember sitting in at that meeting, there's all the Bundesliga coaches in it, and I was sitting there like, ain't this some bullshit? Like I was just a player. I was just coming off playing. I was like,
Right.
yo, this is some bullshit right here. These men are talking about keeping salaries down, and you know,
Right.
and I think, yeah, that's one reason. Of course, there's issues with sponsors. It's a different pay scale, but there's so many Americans. There's so many foreign players that to choose from that you can literally get another player very easily.
I understand that, but then you get a rookie
Mhm.
this year, for example. Then he's going through his whole learning curve, and then he becomes good and he excels. And then you give him up and say, "All right, I'm gonna start all over from zero with a new rookie." Like that's and go through the whole learning curve again.
Well,
Whereas you,
it's usually smaller market teams or smaller budget teams that really go through that 1 year process. If you look at the bigger teams, they're very apt to
yeah,
re-signing their players because they have the means to do so. You know, of course, when you're making 100,000 and you stay with Alba Berlin, you're not going to suddenly be making 130,000 the
mm,
next year. The pay increase won't be extravagant, but you'll still be there for the next 2 to 3 years, which creates a very good synergy within the team. And look at
exactly.
Alba now. That's exactly how they have it now. Um, but usually the smaller markets, those are the ones that have the trouble to pay a player what they're worth, and somebody's going to snatch him up if he did well. Supply and demand. That's the most of it.
Yeah, that's yeah. Like you said, and there's so much that goes on behind the scenes that we don't
Yeah,
even know. There's
yeah,
and then going to meetings with coaches, like, wow, like this
yeah.
is what gets said.
I've got a teammate question from DJ Soulclack. I think you know him. Having played for many different teams in different countries besides the cultural differences, what is the toughest thing about switching cities or countries every year?
The toughest thing, I guess, you get used. I mean, you get used to it. Like I got used to Germany, went to France, and then it was like, oh, I gotta again start all over. Of like learning the culture, learning how to find food, learning learn food means what, and you know what, and obviously also being away from family, like the time differences, and you know not being able to watch NBA games. You gotta stay up late, but you gotta get up early for practice. And it's always like you said, it's tough because you're never really stable. Like, and it can even be tough for relationships, just like
Oh
because
yeah,
always, you're in a different country. So it's like you meet a girl in a certain country or meet a person in a certain country, then, you go somewhere else the next year and it's like, well, what are we gonna do? You'll be back home in the summer for 2 months and then you meet someone there and then, oh, but I have to go to Turkey this year. And it's like, they have work in America. It's like, it's tough. Like playing basketball overseas, it has many positives and benefits, but it does come with some negatives.
And a lot of people don't realize that. They just think it's a high life, but it's a struggle. It's a job like any other, and there's pluses and minuses. I happen to think there's a lot more pluses, but the minuses are tough. You
Yeah.
know, being away from family, people possibly passing away. You're overseas.
Right.
It's there's a lot of drawbacks. That not the average person doesn't think about. We do, but the average person doesn't think about. Yeah, you learn to live with it.
Yeah.
That's kind of the law of the land. Um, I got a question for you. When you went back home after you finished your first year overseas in Tübingen, you had a little bit of money in your pocket,
Mhm.
feeling good about yourself. Um, what was your first time being home after having a little bit of money, a good season behind you, a little bit of money in your pocket? Think back to that first year and tell me what you would have done differently.
Done differently. Uh, if I knew what I knew now, I mean, I would have definitely bought a house or like put a down payment
Mhm,
somewhere.
mhm.
You know? Uh, I was lucky. I had a good financial advisor that he told me to set aside money like in IRA at that time. So I was already
So
doing
safe.
first year out, but like I should have put a down payment down on the house somewhere. But I didn't know where we're gonna live. That's the thing too,
That's
because
yeah,
you
yeah.
know I'm from New York, but you know I don't really necessarily live in New York. But like, where do you want to live? But I'm always going to different countries: Germany, France, Turkey, Israel. It's like I don't have time to really decide where I want to live in America to and find a home to put a down payment. That was always the tough thing too. It's like, why did you keep, why did you never do that? I was like, I didn't know, I didn't have time to like really find a real estate agent and help me like, diversify through that whole world. But now that I'm older, it's like I should have took the time, set aside time like that. So
Well,
that's
that's also something that no one tells you.
no one tells you, right? That's a fact, right?
But here's the thing: is it's like you said, like you don't know you're home. You go play overseas 8, 9, 10 months. You come over, you're home for 2 months. You gotta work out. You gotta
You try,
keep yourself in shape. You gotta
yeah,
do all that stuff because now it's your job. And yeah, like when do you have time to do all of that? And then, okay, I know guys that they went home, they bought a car, put rims on it, shit like that. You're
that,
gonna enjoy that for like 1.5 months.
right, right, and that's
And then
right.
somebody else gonna be driving your car. You're gonna be paying for the insurance. I mean,
Right.
come on.
And I definitely did it. I ain't gonna lie, I definitely like. I'm only home for 2 months enjoying this, and then at home for the rest of the 10 months, and I'm just like, but like you said, just young, dumb, and naive, and
Yeah, you live and you learn.
live you learn, right? Exactly.
You live and you learn. Um, how does your summer routine differ now compared to back when you were younger?
Some routine differ.
Or does it? Or does it differ
I
than
mean,
back then?
yeah. I mean, I really still feel like I train like I'm a rookie. Like like just where I had my trainer. Did I have this? I had the same trainer. No, I didn't. No, I didn't have a trainer then. I got my trainer after my injury in 2014, who I'm still with today.
Mhm.
But yeah, I knew to work out. Just working out was just something that was in me, innate. Just like I have to. There's someone else in the world getting better, so I have to do something to get better also. And then a lot of my guys, my friends were athletes, so it's like, when we're hanging out in the gym. Like, let's go work out, let's go play, let's go hoop. All right, cool. And then obviously in New York City we have summer basketball, so it's these pro-am tournaments and stuff. So
Right.
you're always around the game. So you know, but then also I was trying to find that fine line, that balance of between resting and then still working out because you play 10 months, grueling season overseas. Got to tell you the physicality is crazy overseas when you have to give your body rest.
Right.
And when you're young, you can do that. You can get away with it more. But I guess one of the difference now. Now that I'm older, I try to rest more.
Mhm.
Be smart about my workouts. Maybe I'm not in the gym 3 hours a day. Maybe just get a good, intense hour and a half in. Just like and really just dial it down to the length of the workout, but then keep the intensity up. So that's maybe something I do. I think I differ because I would definitely do longer workouts when I was younger. But
Mhm.
now older, you try to be smarter. So you work smarter, not harder.
Right. Do you what's a typical normal summer workout day for you?
So I would lift in the morning, because I kind of got used to the 2 a day thing with
Mm,
your.
yeah. Yeah.
So like coming from America, we really didn't have 2 a days. Like you go to
Yeah.
school, you maybe work out individual with a coach, but then you got to practice with the team. But
Right.
going overseas, you really get used to the 2 a day workout. And so I try to keep that in the summer, where I maybe lift in the morning and then go find a gym to go shoot in the later part, or shoot and then play like live 5-on-5, so you can practice what you work on in your workouts. And the one difficult thing also, especially living in New York City, is like finding a gym. Like there's so many gyms in New York City, and obviously we have like outside places too, but you want to work on, you want to play on the hardwood. So,
Right.
but it was so difficult because just like, just certain schools, and maybe more, and maybe I'm saying this more so because of COVID, because it was just so difficult to find gyms, that allowed you to come in without any, stipulations. But I was lucky. I'm saying that, but I was lucky enough at the time because I had a high school coach who would let me come in all the time and use the gym, and I knew certain guys who owned gyms, so I was lucky. But I know, speaking now, that post COVID, that it is, it's sometimes more difficult to find in New York City. In different states, it's easier. So,
Mm,
Texas and
right.
California. But yeah, I definitely try to I definitely try to incorporate the 2 a day workouts in the
Yeah.
summer.
I mean, that's crazy. Like, if you think about it, players back home develop everything like normal, practicing just once a day.
Yeah,
And when you get overseas and you're a pro, unless you're playing on a lower level that doesn't have access to gym or things like that, it happens. But yeah, those 2 a days at first, it's like, God damn, this is a lot of practice
yeah,
for one game a week. Back then, when I was playing, okay,
yeah,
we were in European Cup too, but it still wasn't like it is now. Now they're playing a lot of games, but um, like if you weren't fortunate enough to be in European Cup, you
yeah.
got one game a week, and you got 12 practices.
Right, right.
like, like, come on, man. Like that's in the gym. We're not counting maybe running. We're not counting film sessions. We're not
Yeah,
counting weight room. We're talking about in the gym. You got like 10, 12 practices.
yeah.
Out my first year, I was like, this is some crazy shit right here. This is
And
crazy.
and my thing is like, do you feel they do that because they feel, I mean, they want to make you earn your paycheck,
Yes.
this or this is what you got to do to be a pro? Like
I
this is
think I think it's probably a mixture of both, and um they definitely want to make sure that they're getting their money's worth.
right,
That's a definite. That you're not just sitting in front of the TV playing Xbox and
right.
shit like that. That's a definite, right? So they're going to have you doing busy work. On the other side, it really depends on your coaching staff, um, and how many vets you have,
Mhm.
things like that. You can't drive vets into the ground. Um, but yeah, I think it's also you're a pro. You don't have anything else to do. You don't have to go to class.
Mhm.
You don't have if you're a full professional, you don't have another job. You don't have to do anything else. So what else you gonna do except better yourself?
Mhm.
And then of course it's up to the coaching staff how intense those practices are. But I played for some coaches that it was like ridiculous. And
Yeah,
then I've also played for some like towards the end of my career where I was chilling, you
yeah.
know.
You know,
So it
I
depends.
I liked Israel a lot because we only had one practice a day, and there it was like you really have to be a pro, and that was about my fifth year out as a pro. So by then I knew what
What
it
it
takes
takes.
to be. But I was thinking to myself, man, if I was a rookie And I'm experiencing this my first year. I'm like, man, I would probably thought this is like playing in the NBA, like one practice a day, and then
Yeah.
you live your life in Israel. And if you know Israel, it's
Yeah,
like,
it's dope. That's dope. That's
and,
dope out there.
and I'm like, you really have to be disciplined, as a player, as an athlete, to take care of your business first, and then go, live your life and have fun. Which
Of
because you gotta live your life also as an athlete, because
course.
we're in the gym all day, so we can't, mentally, you just can't do that every day, all day.
For
Even though,
10 months.
yeah, you can love it as much as you want, but you still have to live life. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Get away from basketball sometimes, mentally. Um, and so that's why I said I loved Israel, because when you have one practice a day, but I knew to take care of my business to still be better in the process. So, but yeah, I mean, every other country was two practices a day, and you knew it. And that's the thing too, like, because like the sports science now that we're
Yeah.
privy, like, what's the thing Kawhi Leonard did? He like with the rest, he rested on purpose just because he knew like my body can't take the toll, and which is smart though, because all this running and jumping and the pressure you add to your joints and stuff like that does wear on you, and it takes years out of off your life. And I feel like Europe was always, I mean, a bit behind in the sports
Yeah,
science
yeah. Yeah.
of learning how to treat us athletes, because like
Yeah.
sometimes athletes like, oh, just especially black athletes is like run, jump high. You jump high, you run fast, like just do that. Oh, we're still human also. And it's like you got to give our bodies time, rest, to recover, to be able to do, to do
To
that stuff.
perform. Mhm.
Exactly. And I just feel like, oh, Europe is always a bit behind in that aspect.
Well, I mean, okay, I'm showing how old I am, but you gotta think when I was playing, it was far behind.
Right,
Like,
right.
dog, my first year, we were running up mountains out in the cold, like gravel. So when you run downhill, like steep hills, and when you run, the gravel would make you slip. It's snowing outside, it's rain outside. We run it 10 kilometers. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, and then go practice.
They go practice, right? Yeah.
And then go practice, right? So, I mean, sports science has come a long way, but Europe has been behind. But I think they're really catching up in those ways. There's some pretty good therapists that are. What's probably the biggest thing is that the coaches are now listening to the therapists or
Mhm.
the physios or things like that. Back when I was playing, the coach didn't give a rat's ass what the physio said. If he thought you were
So,
playing or you were able to practice, you was practicing.
man, stories about that. Couple things. So it's like I feel like the strength and conditioning coaches we had early on in my career, they didn't, like, they were teaching us, the programs they gave us were like, I don't think ideal for basketball players. Like it was just like a broad program to give to play certain sports. But I think you need to be certain, like specific, have
Right.
a program set for athletes, for basketball players, for football players, for soccer players, like just because it pertains to their sports. And I think that's something, again, I looking back now, like that we didn't have, but I'm sure looking
Yeah.
back, they didn't have that either. And then going back to the physio thing is like I remember I had an injury one of my first 3 years in Tübingen, and I'm telling the physio like I can't play, like it's bad. And literally she told me, she's like, you have to go tell coach you're hurt. I can't tell coach.
Hmm.
I'm like, what? And like, and I'm remembering back to college. If my trainer knew I was hurt, he's telling the coach Ty can't play. He's out today.
Right. Right.
Like, and now to see like because in college I feel they had that relationship. It's like, yo, he's
Right.
hurt, he can't play, he can't perform. Don't put him out there. Now it's like you gotta tell coach you can't play. 'Cause they're like afraid what like, what's he gonna do? I mean, if I can't perform, then if they're coming from me, I feel like the coaches may
It's
not.
not. It's not as yeah. Then they're gonna look at you like you're a punk.
Exactly, you soft. Why you not playing? And I'm like, yo,
Right.
my ankle, whatever, is hurt.
Yeah. Yeah.
They tell me the famous line is, uh, it's hurt, but you can't hurt it more. You can't injure it more. I'm like, does that mean? Like, you break it. You can't hurt it more. He can play. Like, no, yo.
I had a coach that always used to ask, "Are you hurt or are you injured?
Right.
Are you hurt or are you injured? Like if you're hurt, you can probably still practice, you can still play. If you're injured, you're out,
And,
right?"
and again, to piggyback off that is because it's important. Stats are important. Like all that is important, especially if
Mhm.
you're an agent trying to sell your player. If you're a player trying to find different teams. Imagine if you tell a coach you're hurt and you can't perform, and he says, "Oh, are you injured? Or you hurt?" You say I'm hurt. Oh, you say I'm hurt. He's all right. You can play. He plays you. You go out there, you get beat. Normally you wouldn't get beat, but because you're injured, you got a bad will, whatever, you get beat. Coach is pissed. He subs you out. Like you can't play the rest of the game. Now you went in for what 2-3 minutes. Tell the coach before, yo, I can't play. He said, nah. Then like stuff like that where you go, you don't take a shot, you don't get a rebound, nothing like that affects your stats. And the stuff that coaches they don't care, but
No,
you
they
know
don't think about it.
But when they're recruiting you, it's like, well, how many points did he average? How many rebounds did he get? Oh, well, you didn't average this and this, so we were looking at this guy who averaged this. But like, I'm looking back now, I'm like, damn, like all this stuff that they don't tell you about. It's
Yeah,
usually why.
yeah. Were you here in Braunschweig? Were you here when Andy was here? The physio Andy?
Yeah,
You were here when he was here?
like to work every day. Like, I
Yeah,
go,
I had him on the show as well, and we were talking about the coach physio relationship or strength coach or whatever, and their relationship and how when he first got together with the coach didn't trust him so much, you know, or his opinion on stuff like that. But as time went on, then he accepted it more and stuff like that. And I think that's one of the biggest issues. If a physio or medical staff in general hasn't had a long relationship with the coach,
yeah,
then it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. It's going to be really tough.
yeah, yeah. And I think that stems from like the physio, the team doctor, like
Mhm.
all. And I mean, again, it's all important because this is our lives. These are our bodies that we're putting you in charge of. And especially if you got to go have a surgery with a doctor. Most teams they don't want you to go back home to have these surgeries. They want you to do it
Mhm.
there.
Doing it there.
It's, man, it's so much stuff that now that I know, again, I would pass on with wisdom to
Mhm.
the guys now just to like inform them of stuff.
I
Just
mean, that's why I do what I do. That's why I wrote this book. That's why I do what I do with consulting with players because there's so much that players don't know, and they're getting a lot of false information and things like that. And you just kind of want to give back and protect those that are coming after you, you know. And but it's hard, man. It's hard because a lot of people don't know they don't know the right information. They're
nice.
getting led differently, and it's kind of sad. I want to go back to the injuries question with you.
Yeah,
Um, how have injuries affected your career?
man. Back in so I had a good coming off my third year in Tübingen. I had a decent year. And then that year actually was the first year of the TBT, the basketball tournament. My Notre Dame team, alumni team, we put a team in. We won it. We won the first TBT, inaugural TBT. We are the winners. I think I'm the MVP. I was the MVP, the first MVP. And I played alongside a former teammate of mine, Ryan Ayers. His dad, Randy Ayers, was a coach the at the
Ohio
time.
State?
Ohio State, yeah. Yeah. And then at the time in 2014, he was a coach for the Pelicans.
Mhm.
And so he had seen me play during the whole TPT and liked the way I played and said, I think you really can come down for the Pelicans to try out for the summer league team. And so remember, I didn't have any NBA work, so this is my first NBA anything.
Mhm.
Coming off, I had a little bit of steam behind me with the good European season, good TBT showing in front of like other like high level European players, NBA players. So I went down. So I went down there to the Pelicans, and then we had to do a physical. And so, mind you, the whole time in the TBT, I was playing with I had a little bump on my shin, which I had the whole year while I was playing in Europe, in Germany.
Mhm.
And I went to the doctor. I consulted with the doctor twice about it. I was like, "What's this bump on my shin?" And again, he hit me with the line, It's sorry, it's not broke, so you can't hurt it more. But it's like he's like it was like it's really nothing. You just have a little excess something on your whatever on your shin. And so I played the whole year with it with the bump on my shin. Went home, uh, went to played in the TBT with the bump on my shin, and still it was still there, but I was still able to play and play effectively.
Mhm.
But the NBA is so meticulous and so, fine in everything that they do. So I did a physical. They saw the bump in my shin. I was, hey, the doctors in Germany said I'm good. Like I have no issues. He was like,
Mhm.
look, man, I'll never forget. I think I went first. So I was the first one to go in to get X-ray. They take X-ray of your whole body. I went first. Everybody else went after me. He called me back in. He didn't call anybody else back in. He called me back, closed the door. I was like, oh God. He's like, I had a seat. I had a seat. And he said, he showed me my x-rays on my shin. He said, yeah, you have a stress fracture. I'm like, huh? I'm like, all right, but all right, I've been playing the whole time so I can play. He's like, no, we can't let you play.
Yeah, yeah.
What? And I'm like, so mind you, NBA is nice. They flew you down first class, put you in a nice five-star hotel in New Orleans. And I'm like, you've seen all this. I remember we pulled up to the gym where we had the physical, and I saw like a Wraith, a Bentley like Wraith outside. And I'm like,
Mhm.
how far is that? And I'm like, oh, it's Anthony Davis. He was playing with the Pelicans at the time. And I'm like, wow, you've seen all this. Like, oh, this is,
Mhm.
man, I can't, you're going to really bust my ass to work hard to get here. And I remember, man, he told me, yeah, we can't let you play. And I was like, devastated because I finally got my chance to get to an NBA workout. And it's like to hear this news where like we can't let you play because of something. I was consulting with doctors in Germany the whole year prior, like the whole,
Mhm.
and they're saying it's fine, you can continue playing.
Mhm.
But then, for him to say that to me, that man, I was like
Devastating.
devastated, man. And I ended up having surgery on it post when I got so my American doctor saw my injury. I, you know, based on what the doctor for the Pelicans told me, I was like, all right, I have to get surgery, which is what the German doctor said I didn't have to do because if I had to do it, I would have did it already. And then I ended up getting surgery. I had a plate put inside my shin, and I was able to play while my injury healed. And that's actually the year I went to Braunschweig. So that whole year in Braunschweig, I played with the plate in my shin. Um, but yeah, man, that was man injured that one hurt. That one hurt.
I
And
mean, in retrospect, it was like a blessing in disguise
yeah,
because you got it diagnosed.
that's what it, that's how I have to try to justify it, because then you saw like how I don't know if Edgar Sosa maybe had a bad like stress fracture injury in the FIBA World Cups, and then Paul George, that infamous.
I had that.
Oh,
Let me tell you my story real quick. So my first year overseas, I'm in Austria. I'm there about 2.5 months. 3 weeks before my leg breaks, I am in practice and somebody falls on my leg. It's like we loose ball, we fall, heavy guy falls on my leg, whatever. It hurts, whatever. I keep practicing. Mind you, what I told you about running up hills 10 kilometers down, that was in Austria. This is
yeah,
my first year.
all taken toll.
And so what I know now is that at that point I got a stress fracture, not a stress fracture, a hairline fracture.
Mhm.
And I went to the doctor. They took X-rays. You're fine. You're good. Everything else. But I mean, I got this lump on my leg. I'm like, bro,
Oh,
this shit ain't normal. But you're a rookie. You want to impress. I was playing great. We're in the European Cup, the Courage Cup at that time. I'm playing great. Everything's going good. We're like 11-1. I don't want to break the flow.
right,
I don't know any better. I don't know to get a second opinion.
right.
So I keep practicing, keep playing. 3 weeks later in a game, get a steal at half court, all by myself. Nobody's even close. Take my 2 steps. 1, 2, jump off my left leg, snap.
Damn.
Out for a long time. I was out a year and a year.
Mm.
And
They had to
but
pump.
that's the thing is you put so much trust in these doctors that have the team's best interests in mind. And
Right.
of course, so I'm laid out on the ground. They it was an away game. They take me back in the taxi, not taxi, the ambulance to my city. The team doctor's there. He goes, Yeah. Now that I look at your old X-rays, now we see you had a hairline fracture. If I would have taken 3 weeks off, I would have been fine.
Crazy. You
But
had you,
of course, huh?
you had a bump on your shin,
Yeah, I did. I had a bump and I was icing it and
right?
doing
Yeah.
everything I could, but
Yeah.
and it just didn't get better. It got worse, obviously.
Yeah.
And then they come and tell me, yeah, you had a hairline fracture back then and we didn't see it. Great. Fuck you very much, right? So I learned a lot from that. And to get a second opinion,
Yeah.
you know, even for me, like after that, even the smallest injury, I was going to another doctor.
Smart.
Like, no way I was going to get misdiagnosed again. But that happens a lot, man, over here because the doctors have the team's best interest in mind and not yours. And
I know the story.
you were lucky that it was diagnosed and it didn't get worse during your season in Tunia.
Right. And another story, quick story, if I have time, is
Go ahead.
I was in Turkey. Turkey in 2017, and was having a great start to the year. And we had a whole preseason tournament, and we weren't even supposed to make it to like the next round, and we made it to the next round. I was playing great. In the first real game of the season, the first half, I think I had 20 and 5 in the first half. I get a steal beginning of the second half, going for a dunk. For some reason, it was kind of an old gym. These rims weren't breakaway, so it didn't break. Like usually, you dunk, it bends down a little,
Right.
and it bent. And my momentum, because I was running so fast, took me under the rim, and I slipped off, fell, boom, wake up, and I'm like, the whole team is standing around me. I'm like, why are y'all? And I'm like trying to get up. Says, no, don't get up, don't get up. I'm like, what's wrong with y'all? Like, and then I get carried out on the stretcher, and I'm like, I'm a little dazed, but I'm like, what's going on? And then I get to the hospital, they do X-rays on my head and stuff, and I noticed my fingers hurting too, but my head I have some headaches, so I definitely have a concussion. And so I'm at home for maybe a week, and like I'm sensitive to light, I can't really eat. Like I never had a concussion before, so it's like my first time really experiencing this. And then again, my finger was really hurting, so I was like, what was I doing with my finger? But it was wrapped, so I couldn't tell. And so a week out, they're like, can you come to practice? I'm like, huh? But I'm still sensitive to light, so I'm coming glasses to practice with my sunglasses on, like, and everything. My finger's still wrapped, and I'm still in pain, but I'm getting better slowly. And then I'll never forget the big man we had, because in Turkey at the time, you're gonna have two foreign players, two American. Turkey's cutthroat, so if you're hurt and you don't get healed fast, you're on the next.
No.
And so I'm trying to heal fast, because my agent is telling me, hey, like, Turkey's like this, and like I'm like, all right, well, and then what? Mind you, the big man gets hurt. The Turkish big man gets hurt. He rolls his ankle, and I swear, I'm on the bench watching practice. The whole organization team turns around and looks at me as he's he's wailing on the ground in pain, and they're looking at me like you're gonna have to play now. And I'm sitting there like, damn, like how, like again. So whatever. All right. Cutthroat, they're paying you well, so it's like I gotta play. So the next day I come out, I wrap my finger, my shit is hurt, like it's swollen, and it's still messed up to this day. Swollen, and I can't even catch a pass, let alone shoot, let alone dribble. And I'm like, it's to the point where I'm like, yo, what's wrong with my finger? Like, I was worried about my head first. But what's wrong with my finger? Because I can't catch a pass, I can't dribble, I can't shoot. And so I go to the doctor. I said, what's wrong with my finger? He's like, oh, he took an X-ray and MRI. So, oh yeah, it's fine. It's nothing wrong with it. I'm like, huh? Like my body, well, something's wrong with it. He's like, nah, nothing wrong with it. You can play. And so I remember the GM of the team comes to me. He's like, yo, we have a game on Saturday. You can play, right? And I'm like, yeah, I got it. You can play, right? I'm like, yeah. All right. And again, Turkey's cutthroat, and you're American, you got to perform. He said, I want you playing like you played the first game. You got 20 and 5 in the first half. Bro, I go out there, I literally can't.
Stinking it up.
I'm shooting, I'm left-handed, I'm doing everything with my right hand. Like, and it's to the point where my teammates, they don't want to pass me the ball because I can't. And I'm saying, like, and I understand because I'm like, well, I wouldn't pass it to me either. gotta be out here. And man, like, so fast forward. So I ended up getting released because I couldn't perform, and I ended up going to Israel. And that's to piggyback on what you said earlier about having a good agent. Because, like you said, when you get released, I had a good agent at the time that was able to get me right from Turkey straight to Israel. And I went to Israel, and by that time it was about 3 weeks, 2 weeks that happened, and I was healing better. My finger was better. I could play more with it, and I can catch a pass. And so I started playing much better when I got to Israel. But when I had some downtime in Israel, I went to a doctor again. I said, "Hey, can you check my finger? I just want to see if these doctors in Turkey were telling me the truth." They take one X-ray, and it was like, "You had trauma to your finger. Your finger was broke." I was like, "What?" They told me, the team doctor told me it's not broken. I can play. He was like, "I'm looking at your X-rays right now, and I can tell there's been trauma to the area of your finger. And I can't. It's been so much time has passed that it wouldn't make me go in and fix it now. So it's just gonna now
Right.
stuck like this." And it's like, but again, just to wrap it all up, it's like these team doctors, they don't have your best individual
No,
at heart.
no,
It's
no.
team.
Yeah.
That is,
Uh, that's crazy, man. Like
you know,
you hear stories all the time about stuff like that, but it's crazy that it's still prevalent today
you know,
with all the modern technology and all everything that's going on. Stuff like that still happens, and that's why I preach to my players. Second opinion.
second opinion.
Third if it must be. And I'm talking on some like secrecy shit. Like
Yeah,
you got to find somebody that you know that is not affiliated with the club in any way, shape, or form. Have them sneak you to a doctor, go to a doctor and get a second opinion, and don't tell your team. Like it's your body,
yep.
and if it's not working right, then you're not going to be able to perform. All right, man. Only got a couple minutes with you. I want to ask you one more question that's actually off the court stuff.
Mhm.
How has fatherhood changed your life as a basketball player?
Man, man, it's not about me anymore. If I have days off now, it's like, damn, I can't just shoot over to Greece or to Tel Aviv or wherever to Paris. Like, I gotta go hang with my son, go take him to the
Mhm.
park, go
Mhm.
shoot or whatever. I mean, he's too young to shoot, but it's like,
That
I
quality time.
yeah, go have put in a relationship time with him and be a dad to him. So it's been a blessing, just to see him grow. Like he was able to come to a game this past year, and that was so cool to see him at a game, run the court after I played. Like it was like, wow, that's crazy. Like you always see it with other people's kids, and you're like, damn, I wonder what that feels like. And then you have it,
And it is
kind
it
of
is
like,
like that.
cool feeling. Like, it's
Yeah.
makes you feel weird inside. So it's definitely he's growing, he's getting big, he's getting tall, and man's gonna be a monster. And he already has a German passport, so it's only gonna bode well for him. So we'll see what happens.
Good, good, man. So I got a couple of quick answer questions before you get out of here. Kiss, kill, or marry the last three German teams you played for. We're not going to count Kirchheim because you just got there. So we're going with Fechter, Braunschweig, Tübingen. Kiss, kill, marry.
Oh
Who
man,
you, who you kiss, kill, and marry? So this
man,
is the one question. This is the one question that puts you on the spot.
oof. Uh, Kiss. I mean, I guess I would say married, just because Tübingen was my start. That's where I started. That's where we all got. That's where my career has its foundation. So I'm gonna say married Tübingen.
Yeah.
I'm gonna kiss. DJ Soka, if he's still here, I'm going to kiss Vector because we had that 2019 year was just, a memorable year. That's something that, you know, a lot of teams, people won't get to experience. And then I have to
So you're
kill,
killing off Braunschweig.
but I'm not killing DJ Soka. I love
Okay. Um, what was one thing that you bought that was frivolous with your very first rookie paycheck? Something you look back on and like, oh, what the fuck was I thinking?
Man, where do I start? Rims that
What?
I bought 2 years later, I cracked it on the highway. Like, like spend X amount of money for no reason. But I would say like yeah, some rims and jewelry, like stuff like I still have
Yeah,
to, but it's like it's I feel like it's so outdated. I can't even wear
yeah,
it.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
but it's like I'll hold it and maybe pass it down to my son. Maybe he can wear it.
Yeah. Back until he's able to wear it, it'll be back in style. So
Yeah, it's in the jewelry box collecting dust.
it'll be straight. What was your welcome to Europe moment? Your welcome to Europe basketball moment?
Oh man. We played Bamberg. Played Bamberg, and that year Bamberg had PJ Tucker, Casey Jacobson, Brian Roberts, Tibor Pleiss, Marcus Slaughter. They were
Those championship group, yeah.
loaded. And I had to my assignment that day was not one of those guys. It was Predrag Schubert. And to this day, people say, who's like the toughest guy he played against? I'm like, Predrag Schubert. He was
That's funny because that was going to be my next damn question. You just messed it up. But go ahead.
35, couldn't jump over a sheet of paper, but he
Yeah,
gave me fifth, like I want to say like 15-8 on that team. 15-8 on that loaded team is a
it's
lot. Like
loud.
yeah, it's like 30 and 15 if no enough. I couldn't do anything with that guy, and he just really like because he could do everything. He could post, he could shoot, he's smart, he's so cerebral, and I was like, that's one thing. That's one thing I do as a player. Like if I play against a guy who's good, I try to take things and learn from the player. Because he he killed me. I ain't gonna lie. And
Yeah,
that's
I got one of those too. Yeah, yeah. Did you ever have a wild shit talking moment in Euro?
uh oh yeah. Damn, I can't remember his name now. He played in Oldenburg. I can't remember his name, but I remember it was like my second, third year in Tübingen, and we played in Oldenburg, good game. And this dude, he like clotheslined me, like blindsided me back. And it was to the point where I looked behind me, I'm like, yo, who did that? Because no one ever like really touched me ever as a pro. That was my first time someone hit me. I was like, I'm seeing red. Like, and I'm really cool, calm, and collected, but that's the first time I saw red. Like, I want to hurt someone.
Mhm.
So, it was a close game. And so I couldn't do anything. I mean, I was
You don't want to get tech, and yeah.
not get a tech when it's a 2-point game. You know what I'm saying? And, I ain't gonna lie. I remembered, that was the second time we played him. We didn't play him again that year. We played him again the following year. He's re-signed with Oldenburg. I was with Tübingen. I marked on my calendar when we played Oldenburg. We played him at home at their gym first, and I got him back. I waited till like the third quarter, but I was going, I was going up for a rebound. He was with me, but I made it. I was going for a basketball play, but I knew what I was doing. I was going out with elbows first and hit him. I hit him and like he bloodied his face, and he had to leave the game and all that. And I was like, that was. You think I forgot? I remember. Oh, I remember that I had to wait like 6 months for that paper. I got it back. Got it back.
Okay, so I know not to really piss you off because you're gonna come back.
Yeah,
You're gonna
yeah.
get that revenge. All right. Yeah, man. Last question. Looking back, what does vet Ty tell rookie Ty about what he's about to experience?
Was vet tie to Ricky tie? Man, first of all, just enjoy it, man, because everybody says it, it's so cliche, but it goes by so fast. And I'm at year 12 already, and it's so crazy to say it. Like, and to say I'm a vet, like that's so weird to say
Mhm.
veteran, but it goes by fast, man, and to to really enjoy every moment, man. I mean, you enjoy the what I look back now and I really appreciate is the people that I met off the court.
Mhm.
Like DJ Soul Claps, like and the countless other guys that I've met throughout my time in Europe, and like I've made so many friends, and I have
Mhm.
different countries in Israel and France and Germany, and it's like in Turkey, all because of off the court relationships that I've made
Yeah.
that I go to today and like stay and like and stay and just have a good time, and that's something I really would tell a young type just to appreciate those relationships, man, because
Mhm.
they go a long way, longer than basketball will.
Yeah. That's a good point, man. That's a really good point, and that's a good place to end this interview. Thank you, Ty, so much for coming on. You actually like I got every time I've got like a long list of questions that I have, and I didn't ask many of them. I asked some of them. I didn't ask nearly all of my questions, but that's a good sign because that means that we were vibing and we were just talking. You know,
Exactly.
and I didn't have to read every question to get something out of you. So I really appreciate that from you, man, that you came on and made this interview possible and such a good interview. And you really dropped some knowledge on here as well, especially about the injury stuff uh, that I hope people find useful. And that's what I'm all about, is trying to make sure these players find some decent information and from those that actually lived it. So when I put this up on YouTube, I hope that somebody sees it one day and is like, hey, I know to get a second opinion because I watched that interview with Ty. You know, so that goes a long way, man. And I really appreciate you dropping those knowledge gems and stuff like that too.
No problem, man. Thanks for having me, man.
Hey, good luck. Try to get that first dub this
Yeah,
weekend.
sure.
I'm gonna be watching. I'm gonna hit you up. I'm gonna hit you on Instagram after the game and either congratulate you or be like, boo, boo.
Cool.
All right.
Have a good night, man.
All right, man. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yep, no problem.
Like, so my teammates, thank you for watching. As usual, whether you were here for 30 seconds or you were here for the whole hour and 6 minutes now. Thanks for stopping by. And like I said, that was a great interview because I didn't ask all the questions that I had. You know, I'm prepared for a lot more than what I actually asked. And I appreciate that Ty really gave some valuable information that other people can use later on. So that's the most important thing to me. And yeah, thank you all for joining. And I will be back on Friday with a great guest, a pioneer in coaching basketball, not just as a woman, but as a coach, period. And I really look forward to hearing her views on women coaching basketball. And so yeah, if you were an old viewer, hopefully I'll see you on Friday. If you're a new viewer, hopefully I'll see you on Friday. Yeah, hope everybody's safe. I hope everybody's family safe. Thank you for watching. That's it. Old head out.